Wendell. I have moved, so I don't have the wall behind me. But we have Wendell here today. He is my new favorite thing pretty much in the entire world. I think this is my favorite thing I've ever owned. It's hard to make an intro when I haven't been gone for 7 or 8 months. So there it is. So that's the intro. So where have I been? It's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. I've been all over the place. I had a tethered spinal cord. I did not know this until about 2021, late 2021. So having a tethered spinal cord is, your spinal cord is supposed to float freely within your spinal column. It's just supposed to like come down, and then it comes down into all of these little nerves and nerve endings in your spinal column. And it's just supposed to be like floating and chilling in there. What it is your spinal cord, rather than floating freely as we discussed it should be, it is connected by tissue within your spinal column. So this causes it to stretch and have tension as you grow, because this is something you're born with. So this leads to tension not only on your spinal cord, which is really fucking important in your body. So I didn't have this, but in one of my first visits to the neurologist, she said tethered cord could be really dangerous, especially in adults, because it is connected to your brainstem, and it can start to pull your brain out of the back of your skull. Again, I didn't have this, but that's terrifying. So you have tethered cord, and then the symptoms you get from having a tethered spinal cord are tethered cord syndrome. So this includes like a long list of things, but I can tell you what it was for me. So for me, it resulted in a lot of neck and back pain pretty much my whole entire life. I had really bad growing pains as a child, like in my shins and in my calves. I had bladder issues, and I didn't know I had bladder issues. I thought I was peeing normal this whole time. I was not. I had a joke with my friends and with my partner that like my left hand was having a bad day, because in the last 2 years, several times, and especially I would say in the last year, my left hand would be really weak and not be able to grip, and my dexterity would be really off. And both of my hands have a very weak grip, and I've always had poor upper body strength. And that comes from tethered cord syndrome. I have really high arches in my feet, and I have a really low butt crack. My butt starts before my butt crack starts, if that makes sense. That might be too much information. Another sign that a lot of people have tethered cord syndrome is kind of like at the bottom of your back, and like that crook part can be really hairy, which sounds kind of weird. But mine wasn't super hairy, but I had always had like more of a fuzz there than I do on the rest of my body. Ooh, if you were sending me gross sexual comments before, it's either gonna get worse or better after this. I'm really giggling, laughing, and jokey right now because I am nervous. So please excuse that. So that is just a few of the things I was experiencing. I had a lot of other symptoms, but those are like the big ones that I can think of. Now, typically tethered cord release surgery is done on children. This is typically something that is diagnosed when you are a child. As you get older and as an adult, your symptoms get worse. They have adults that completely lose the use of one or both of their legs, have complete bladder incontinence, the whole pulling your brain out of the back of your skull. Like, it can get really bad. I'm actually very lucky for how easy I had it. It feels weird to say I had it easy, but like easy compared to what it could have been. So I started seriously looking for a diagnosis or looking for other help in 2019 or 2020, because I had been to physical therapy throughout high school and whatnot for my neck and back pain, but I just really hadn't found any help, and it was getting pretty debilitating. I went and saw a doctor. He said, he got a bunch of blood tests. He said acupuncture, and then just kind of as a Hail Mary, he was like, "We have a neurologist here. Why don't you go see her?" And that appointment was in October, and I didn't get to see her till December. So that would have been December of 2020. I went and saw her, and she pretty quickly, I think just reading the notes from my other doctor, who was great. He was great. He did everything he could. I think she just read those notes and was like, kind of already had in mind tethered cord syndrome. And then I went in and we talked about everything, and she was sure by the end of that appointment I had tethered cord syndrome. She was sure and she was ready to do surgery. However, I had to prove it to my insurance. The one thing the neurologist could see in a previous MRI I had of my neck was that my spinal cord really hugged my spinal column in one place when it shouldn't be on the spinal column the way that it was. That was the best we had, but I had to prove to insurance that I had tethered cord syndrome. So we took an MRI of my lower back. 40% of tethered cord people, you don't see it in an MRI. So of course I had to be special like that. So I saw a urologist and she was great, and she was kind of iffy on if it was tethered cord syndrome or a really tight pelvic floor, which is bad, by the way. Nobody tells you that. So I had to have a really fun urodynamic, and to explain a urodynamic without going into too much detail because I don't want to, tubes. I don't know if this is going in the video. This might go on Instagram. I was originally scheduled to have my surgery on July 7th of 2022. And my neurologist was like, if you have any plans or any summer plans or anything like that, like take a break, take a vacation. Because after that, you're gonna be on bed rest. You're not getting out of bed for like at least a month. Like this is not, don't fuck around, go have a nice summer. So I had a trip planned to go see my dad and to go visit my dad. And 2 days into that trip, I got COVID. My first time getting COVID. Honestly surprised I made it till 2022. I was in good company. Hank Green and one other person I followed also got COVID like around the same time. That was a little devastating. I was gonna make one more video before I went into surgery and it just didn't end up happening because I got COVID. COVID was really hard to recover from. I'll get into that a little bit more later. So my surgery got moved to August 1st. So on August 1st, I went in and I got tethered cord release surgery, where they make a small incision in my lower back and they go through all the stuff. There's a lot of layers. There's like skin, muscle, and then they're like separate my bones a little bit. They don't remove any of my bones, but they kind of pull them apart. And they stay like that for a while, which is part of the pain. They kind of pull them apart and they get in there and they cut that cord. So after surgery, I had to stay in the hospital for 24 hours. You can't sit up after surgery for 24 hours or you could have a spinal fluid leak, which is like really bad apparently. Oh, I forgot I was gonna like show a picture. If you want to see a picture of the incision, I will put it up. Just warning, I'm about to show a picture of an incision. It doesn't look very bad because I had internal glue rather than stitches. So there was just glue on the inside and then a little bit of glue on the outside, and the glue on the outside just like fell off after like 2 weeks. Look, I was on good drugs. I had my iPad connected to Wi-Fi. So part of the time I was chilling. You would think eating laying down would be like difficult. No, it's kind of nice. Like lay down and eat some food, dude. It's a good time. It did hurt, obviously. I had back pain. The best way to describe it is like, I felt like someone hit me in the back with a baseball bat. Like it just fucking hurt. Even with medicine, I could always feel that it hurt. But the medicine made me more like chill about it. Like I was just like, fuck it. I could do this all day. I could lay in this hospital for the rest of my life. Like that's how good the meds are. I would say the night was the hardest part of being in the hospital, staying overnight. Because my back would hurt really bad and my legs would hurt really bad from laying in one position or laying on like one side, because I could go to side, I just couldn't sit up. You know, you want to move, you want to roll on your side or you want to roll on your back, but I couldn't because it hurt too bad to do it. That was probably the roughest part of being in the hospital. So let's start talking about recovery. Walking was really difficult and I walked with a walker for about 2 weeks, and I still use a walker, or still should be using a walker. Off and on, just kind of as I need it, but I really needed it that first 2 weeks. I also had what I called the potty chair, just because I thought it was silly and funny, but it was basically like, and I'll put a picture of kind of what it looks like up, but it basically just goes over the toilet. Because of where the incision was and because of how sore my back was, I couldn't really like squat or sit. So I couldn't sit on the toilet comfortably. So this just kind of comes up. So I have less of a way down, basically. The first 4 days were lit. Every few hours, mom brought me a fucking pain pill. And then every couple of hours, I got a muscle relaxer, and I pretty much just like slept and listened to TV shows, and ate good food. Like, that was the first like 4 days. And then I tried to die. I'm just gonna slip that in there. Day 5 was really bad. And I don't know if I want to go into detail on that right now. Obviously, I lived. You're welcome. I can say I don't suggest throwing up after having surgery on your back. There you go. Pro tip. Other than that, to speak kind of more broadly about recovery, I have a lot of fatigue, and my neurologist said fatigue would be extremely normal for about a year or more. Basically, healing the nerves in your spinal cord is really difficult, if you didn't know, and it takes a lot of time. So not only is my body kind of learning how to function normally, which comes with its own bag of weird symptoms, but that's where all my energy is going. My body's putting all of my energy into that, which leaves very little for me. So I've just been really tired. I would say the craziest thing I've done since surgery was, I guess that would have only been like 2 months after surgery. I went to a Halloween party for like 2 hours, and I had to take a very high-powered pain pill that I won't name, but I had one left to do that, but just because I just wanted to get out of the house. I basically spent all day, every day in bed for the first month, 2 months-ish, and then other than that, it was like, oh, now I can sit at my desk. Bending down is still a no-no and has been a no-no since August 1st, and it's still difficult. I can do it now, but if I bend down, like bend over too much, I get a lot of back pain still. Again, with healing the nerves in my spinal cord, I've had a lot of weird symptoms, and a lot of weird symptoms come with that. My least favorite and the scariest ones were pressure in my head, and then that would kind of like plug up my ears and whatnot. A lot of weird pain in my body, like just like really intense, weird, sharp pain in my leg, in my arm, in my hand. I still get a lot of back pain if I'm walking around too much. I got a Fitbit for my birthday, which was in December, and I do about 2,000 steps a day on an average day, and my back gets kind of sore from that. Days above that, like I accidentally did 4,000 on Saturday, and I didn't sleep very well because of how bad my back hurt. Trying to think of what else. I'm just really fucking tired. I can't lift anything. Bending over too much is bad. Walking around too much is bad. So I haven't been working out, which has really killed my spirit. I used to work out before surgery. I would say about 3 months before surgery, I got on the best workout routine of my life, which was difficult, and it wasn't like a great overall workout routine because I had a tethered spinal cord, so rough. But I would work out 3 or 4 times a week. So I haven't been able to do that. I'm down a nose piercing because I had to take all of my piercings out before surgery. And my second piercing in my nose has always been the most difficult. It was always pissed off. It got ripped out of my nose once, which I don't think helped. And it just wasn't ever happy. And basically after a week of not having it in my face, it closed. I am gonna get it re-pierced. I just don't have the money for that right now. Things have just been difficult. And I will say that I haven't had the results that I wanted. I'm still dealing with a lot of neck and back pain. And that sucks. I dealt with insomnia before surgery, and I would say it's worse since surgery. And one of the things that sucks is pretty much for the rest of my life, if I am too tired or if I am too stressed, those more neurological symptoms from having tethered cord come back. So my left hand will get kind of weird, being tired, like not sleeping before sucked. I used to go several times a month, like 3 days without sleeping, and that sucked, and that was never fun. But having one night of bad sleep really knocks me on my ass now. Like, I can't describe how bad it feels. It feels like a hangover. Speaking of hangovers, enough about my spinal cord. Let's talk about my heart. This is it's like a bonus medical issue. So I've had heart palpitations for I would say several years. I would get a heart palpitation every once in a while, and it sucked, but I would move on pretty quickly. But it was weird starting in August or July-ish times, I started getting like this really weird like fluttering, and my heart would race for like no reason, and it was just like really strange. And I didn't do anything about it because I was about to have surgery, so it just seemed kind of dumb to go to another doctor and start trying to figure out something else with surgery right around the corner. But after surgery, it just like, it kept getting worse and worse, and I would have like chest pains and I wouldn't be able to breathe. And I passed out twice I would like stand up, and I've always had like a bit of a head rush when I stood up, but I noticed it was worse and I passed out. So I went to my doctor and I told her about all of this, and she basically said a heart condition after COVID, and that I probably had some underlying condition, but it just never would have been a problem if I didn't get COVID. And honestly, it's just gotten worse. I haven't had an actual diagnosis yet. You'll see in my video I post tomorrow, I have a heart monitor on. That was in November. It is now January when I'm filming this. It's actually January 11th when I'm filming this, and this is going up tomorrow. So it's continuously gotten worse. Basically, my heart monitor said nothing is wrong, which is actually very normal for what they think it could be. I'm not gonna say what they think it could be. I'm already treating what they think it could be, not with medication, but with like other things that I can do in my life to try to make it easier, and those help. However, I cannot drink anymore. When I did drink, the last time I drank, I went to bed, and usually I don't sleep well after I drink, but I went to bed and my heart, I can only describe it as like that feeling you get in your stomach when you're going down a roller coaster. I felt that in my chest while my heart was like racing and fluttering and having palpitations, and it was just about one of the most uncomfortable things that I've experienced as far as heart stuff goes. Spine surgery was more uncomfortable, I'll give you that. And pretty much the test to diagnose what they think it is I think the worst thing I've ever heard of. I joke about my urodynamic test and having a tube in every hole, and I think I would rather do that than what we have to do to get this diagnosed. So I am procrastinating on that a little bit, but I also had to travel in December, which was really difficult on my body. So if I seem weird or low energy in tomorrow's video, that's why. That was in November. I would say my fatigue has gotten a little bit better, but it also goes kind of in waves. So I was just exhausted. It took me like twice as long to film that video, and I was so fucking tired. I moved. The wall isn't here, I moved. So the wall will be reassembled by my next video is my plan. Again, my son Wendell is just about my favorite thing in the entire world. I love him so much. Nothing has brought me more joy in the last few months, like my family, my friends, my partner, Wendell. Obviously, I intend on continuing this channel. I'm not going to set any goals for when videos are going to go up, because whenever I do that, it never goes the way that I think it's going to, and I never post them in that time frame that I give myself. I'm thinking of starting a second channel where I post dumb videos, stupid videos, all of the ideas that I just don't think would fit on this channel, where it's like researched, longer form content. I think I will probably start putting on a second channel. I have a second channel I used to do gaming on, and I just didn't like it, so I'm probably going to start posting that stuff there, and when I do, I'll let you know. Another weird thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to put my cash tag in the very bottom of my description. You don't have to give me money. I am not expecting you to give me money. Someone messaged me on Instagram and asked how they could support me and how they could support my channel. The best way to support my channel is to watch my videos, because watch time is great. Like them, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment, even if it's something stupid. Just be like, hey, loved your video, or honestly just say hey. Just say hi. Like, it's leaving a comment is huge. Any engagement is huge for the channel. Again, I am not asking for money from you, but because somebody asked, I'm going to do it, and this is the only time I'm going to bring it up. I am not going to advertise it in all of my videos. If you want to follow me outside of YouTube, Instagram is the place to be. That is where you need to be. I post extras from videos. I'm going to post extra from this video. I'm going to post extras from tomorrow's video. Things I cut out of videos go there. All of that good stuff. I update videos all the time on my Instagram. Like, if you just want information or you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, that is the place to be. That is the only place to be. So I will see you tomorrow. I'm posting a new video tomorrow. It is not an alien video. It is another folklore video. I'm sorry. There's gonna be another alien video soon. I know I say that all the time, but I promise. Life sucks. Sometimes life is a sucker punch to the stomach. Sometimes you don't get to do what you want to do with your life because you have a bunch of medical problems. Somebody out there is gonna relate to that. But all you can do is give yourself a break when you need it. Be nice to yourself and get back up and keep pushing through. I'm Cleverhaunts, and I guess that's it.